Good morning, healthcare heroes. Good morning to our community. I'm Nicole Traum, and this is Lee Health's Healthcare Heroes Self-Care Moment. So thank you so much for joining me this morning, or whatever time you're watching this. We've been doing this for a couple weeks now, so it's always nice to come back after this was a long weekend for us. So I hope that you all had a great time, just kind of like chilling out a little bit. It was kind of rainy here in Southwest Florida, so it's definitely, it was more of a washout. It was kind of nice to just kind of do nothing or relax. So this week we're talking about thriving during times when maybe it's not most optimal to thrive. And I wanted to share this. So one of the things that we did this weekend, I did with my family and one of our neighbors, was we went out to Babcock Ranch for the tour there. So they've got the eco tour. It's pretty cool. You go in this big swamp buggy and it brings you through the swamp. Now I went on this tour, I went on it right before quarantine. So it was like one of the last things we did. It was actually cold at that time. It was like a totally different tour. There was lots of water. And right now we're just about on the cusp of rainy season, so there was not a lot of water. But what was interesting to me is that when we went last time, they had just had a controlled burn. So in Southwest Florida, we're familiar with that controlled burn thing, right? That we do this every once in a while, we'll smell smoke everywhere, but maybe we're not totally familiar with why that happened. So I'm going to talk about that as we move this morning. So sit up nice and tall, and let's just start by bringing our ear side to side. And every time I do that, my jaw cracks on this side. And just start to feel the sides of your neck stretching. So a controlled burn comes into play because, one, they don't want to have a big fire, right? So to prevent a bigger fire, they control it in one space. And what it does is it starts to clear out all of the junk. It clears out all of the underbrush, which is what catches fire first. It clears out some of the things that maybe are just undesirable. And a lot of the trees and a lot of the things in the forest are actually built for this because it's just part of that natural process. So I had been there when it had the first one, I guess it had its last one, right? And then come on and just lift and lower your chin. And then this time when I went, what was really cool is that now it's only been like maybe 3 months. There was all this new growth coming in, and it just kind of grows up maybe like 2 feet, maybe is what they did. So they burn it to about 2 feet high. There's some burn marks. And then what happens is through that, the ash and everything that comes from the fire, so keep lifting and lowering your chin, creates a really nutrient dense base, and it starts to fertilize those plants that are there so that new things can come up. All right, and then just start to move your head in a slow circle. So of course, the yoga teacher in me, the mindfulness teacher in me was like, yep, this is the theme, right? This is the theme for our lives, because right now we've kind of been in, I'm going to say it's more of a wildfire of a burn, right? Because there's no, we don't really know how to contain it. Maybe some days it feels like it's contained, but it's not always. But that idea, good, and then just start to stretch your arms out here and bring them back a little bit. And then you can start to move your head side to side. But the idea is that, yes, there are times in our lives when things get out of control, when things maybe are burning. Maybe we set those fires ourselves in some way, and then maybe just our environment or our situation sets that fire. But it's a time and a space to really clear out. So I want you to think of that today. Reach your left arm up and over as you stretch. What are those things that you could let burn off today? All right, as we move through this, as we continue with this burn, what are the things that you want to lose? What are the things that you want to kind of clear away? And then on the converse of that, what are the things that maybe you'd like to grow in the place of that? I've had a lot of conversations with people lately about like, well, this is something I want to bring with me from quarantine, right? I want to make sure that I'm not driving so much, and I want to make sure that I'm home with my family to cook. Things like that, right? That's you know, we're getting rid of some things that don't serve us. Maybe we were just doing them because we felt like we needed to, right? They were just growing on their own. But we can now take those things and kind of wash them out, push them away so that new things can rise up. All right, so take your hands down, bring your hands out in front, press your palms forward, and just rock side to side. So stretching up behind your shoulders into the upper back. So just think about that for a minute. What are some things that you'd like to let go of during this time? It does seem like it's a time where we don't have a lot of control, but there are some things that we have control over, right? And inhale, stretching those arms up. Exhale, bringing them back down. So it's a great time to start to think about that. And then thinking about what are the things that have risen up? What are those new things that you've started that you'd like to bring forward with you? Yes, things will be different, but this is really not a new concept in life, right? Things don't usually stay the same forever. We'd like them to, but sometimes we have to open ourselves up to that idea that maybe we won't. Maybe they won't be the same. All right, and then come on out and move your head in a slow, crackly circle. And I wanted to share what are some other benefits of this controlled burn. So one of them is that it clears out the weeds, like I talked about. It manages the congestion of things. The next one is it starts to reduce the risk of future fires. So thinking of that in our lives, maybe we're making ourselves a little more available so we don't have to deal with something worse in the future, or we're prepared to deal with that. And then the last piece is it restores the nutrients to create more growth. So all these things, they can be applied to our life, to our hearts, to our situations. All right, and then let's start to take that right leg and sit up tall. Good, and then breathe nice and deep. You can make some circles with your ankle. Just letting yourself breathe a little bit deeper. And even here, notice your breath. Your breath is one of those ways that it clears things out. And if you inhale and exhale through your nose, and it might take a couple of breaths to get there, let's switch the legs. You start to create a little bit of a warmer heat, a warmer breath. If you're familiar with yoga, you may have heard the word Ujjayi breath. And Ujjayi breath is sort of like a controlled breath. And you can come on down. That is in and out through the nose. And it gives you that kind of, you can tone the back of your throat. So what my teachers used to say is like, you want that Darth Vader kind of breath, like, right? So if you bring your hand out in front of your face, imagine that's a mirror, and this will get you to make that sound, but start to fog up the mirror. So just go, and notice kind of how that feels in the back of your throat. And then we'll start to do this breath here as you inhale and exhale. It's a slower breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. Remember, you're filling up with breath as you inhale. Emptying out the breath with the exhale. You'll start to notice the warmth there. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Continuing with your breath now. Start to notice your shoulders softening, your jaw releasing. Even your hips starting to soften down. Noticing your body starting to relax into your seat. Letting yourself get more comfortable in your skin, in your body, and in your breath. And you can continue with your Ujjayi breath, or if you want, you can just come back to a more natural breath, letting yourself sit so that you can lean back a little bit in your chair, feeling that support underneath you and behind you. Just take a few moments to consider what's been burned off in your life right now. What are the things that have started to fall away? What are the things maybe you want to throw into that fire? That's fine too. And start to feel that spaciousness now as you clear things out. Feel it in your body and in your breath. And maybe you'll even start to feel it in your mind. And if you want, you can take your hand to your heart. And now we're just going to consider, what are the things that have risen up? What's the new growth that's happening? What are those things that you're grateful for? Maybe they even bring you a little smile. They let you soften your body and your breath. Remembering the things that you're grateful for, the new things, the newfound things that you've learned to appreciate, learned to embrace during this time. This practice of gratitude is part of that nutrient-rich fertilizer, right? That's what feeds us, what supports us. So think about even the smallest of things. I think once you find one little thing, then it starts to come in a little bit more. Some of the things I'm grateful for are really feeling comfortable in my home. I'm grateful for cooking more. I'm grateful for being able to really connect with friends, honestly, from the heart, even if it means over the phone. I'm grateful for slowing down, for not having to drive all the time. So we all have different things, right? But let that gratitude rise up. Let it feed you for this new growth. Because yes, this time is dark, it's heavy, it's consuming on some days, right? I talked to a lot of friends in this last week that some days we feel really good, and then other days it's like, just so all-consuming. So we find the balance, just like we come back to our breath. I'm grateful to know that I'm not alone in this experience. And that in this experience, I can support others. I think of all those things, all the things that come up. let yourself notice them, embrace them. And then you can bring your hand down, just sit up nice and tall. Let's take a big stretch here now. Stretching your arms up, bring your thumbs up. We'll take 8 breaths here, just filling up with breath. Emptying out. Filling up into the upper corners of your chest. And then emptying back out. Letting your shoulders relax, releasing your jaw. Filling up with light, filling up with breath. One last round of breath here. And then bring your arms down, move your head, move your shoulders. Remember what it's like to be in your body. Good morning. To be connected into what you have. And then come back to your comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. And bring your hands up in front of your heart. Let yourself just feel the clearness, the expansiveness. So we honor this practice. We honor the fact that we do get these burns. We do get these things that clear things out so that new things can rise up. And so as they move towards this week, as we learn to thrive through this week, let yourself be open to that. Think about those things that you can be grateful for. So I close and I bow to you. Namaste. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. This has been Nicole Traum for Lee Health's Healthcare Heroes Self-Care Moment. All right, have a good one. Bye, everyone. Bye.